Hello, and welcome to this podcast of Built by Humans, where we talk about the human side of things. We talk about what it takes to build products, but not from the technical tools point of view. There's plenty of people that do that. We talk about people, communications, culture, running teams that are not co-located, be it remote, overseas, or remote, and sometimes even the same cities, and just sort of what it takes to build a great product. Today we have a guest, Brianna. I'm going to turn it over to you. Introduce yourself, and we'll go from there.
Thank you for having me, Zhenya. I'm excited to really get into the human component of technology and what we've built. So I am an optometrist by trade, an eye doctor. I see patients and help them with their vision, a lot into kids' vision and what we can do there, and then turned tech entrepreneur founder as we saw a need in our industry and built it. And so now I wear those two hats and also a boy mom of two little boys and a wife and everything in between.
That keeps you busy. So to be honest, when I usually do this, I never reference previous conversation. And I talk to everybody before we do a podcast, right? So I want to meet them. I want to know what things are. But I absolutely never reference the prior conversation, right? We go in pretending this is the first time we're talking. Well, in this case, I can't do that because our first conversation was so engaging, so interesting, and so different. And what I find unique, you are optometrist by trade, right? By training, and turned tech, but you're also running both practices, right? So you
Mhm.
see this from both sides. You could be a customer of your own tech business, right? I mean, it's
I
sort of, that's what
actually
it is.
am. The one thing I can't live with that.
My background is similar. So I run a company, Mirigas. We are a team augmentation company. Our business is to help our clients hire amazing engineering talent in Latin America and Europe. But a bit of a background, I spent 30 years being a tech leader, right? Being an engineer, being a CTO, being a founder of a startup, multiple startups. So I've seen it from both sides of the table. And even now that I run this company full time, I actually ran it for a while. I was doing both, right? I was somebody that was using the services of similar businesses, not of my own because of conflict of interest, but similar businesses, and then running my business. Well, now, I'm 100% focused for the past 11 years, 100% focused on running this business, but I still do it from the same point of view. So one interesting thing that you touched on when we were talking is the changing culture, if you will, of US employees. And you see this, I'm sure, in your own practice, and you definitely see this, again, I'm referring to what we talked about before, and your clients, right? You call in, you try to deal with the client and what you're seeing. So let's
Mhm.
jump into that. Let's talk about what are you seeing? What's your experience? Why is it difficult for people to run our businesses?
Yeah, I think when we were talking, I was just coming off the Inc. 5000 conference, which is our company has made the Inc. 5000 at the Business Magazine 3 years in a row. And when I just gotten back to that, they were talking a lot about four words kept coming up. One was obviously AI, and I don't want this to be an AI podcast because I still think what they were talking about is we're just so many years away from that. This is such a foundation that's being laid, and it's a buzzword and it's overkill, and it just doesn't work, guys, like we think it's working. It's right now, it's if
Huh?
then statements. You have large language models that are just that. Then there was this agentic AI, which in a Tesla, right? You want it to know not to drive off the cliff. We're
Yeah.
not there yet. And it's funny because all these movies, it's like, Xenia, what movie are we living in right now? It's like Ready Player One meets Wally, meets Her, meets all these things, right? Because this has been written before. Then you have the word upskilling, which was just a fancy word for training, which no one's doing anymore. And you had a big part was culture. And what I've done, and I've learned this, the hard knocks. I have so many side hustle MBAs over here, pick one on all the mistakes that I've made. But it comes down to pouring into yourself first as the leader and setting that path, setting that floor, setting that focus. So then everybody else knows where to row. And we're not taking enough time to do that because you're having to move so much faster on lesser resources, but there's no focus. So I think
Yep.
it's just a matter of, 2020, there was a focus and you saw your numbers go up and it wasn't really that hard. And now you have to look at all these finite things in between all of the other stuff that you're doing. And we're all caught in that more and more and more for less.
Absolutely. So I definitely don't want to take this conversation AI, but
No,
I
I don't
do
either.
want to bring, yeah, I do want to bring one interesting thing. And I had a conversation. I have a great friend, Don Cooper, who is actually a mentor of mine. And, I learned a lot from him in our conversations. And we had this chat, and he said it, I think, the best. People are afraid that their job will be replaced by AI. We're years and years away from that. What people should be afraid is their job will be replaced, or they will be replaced by somebody who knows how to use AI to help them get the job done faster and better.
Yeah.
And this is where we're talking about training and, upskill, whatever fancy word you want to use today. But what I find, people just don't care. More and more, they don't care. They show up, they do the minimum required, and they go home. I see this with our clients. I see this with my company. I just see this.
Well, I
And
think
I
that
think we're
part of
losing
it
that.
too is it's an accountability phase. I think for
Hmm.
so many years, you didn't have to hold anybody accountable because the numbers were just there. And now more than ever, I have a sticky note on my desk right now. If you're looking at this, it says you witness consistency only when you are consistent yourself.
Yep.
And so if you have a million focuses going on, no one around you can be focused either. You're going to have to figure out and I have a whole game for this on accountability and the
Hmm.
people that you can have around you that you have to hold your silent commitments accountable. And then now people see that you're accountable and now that goes into it. And so
Yep.
much of this is on yourself. And remember, there's a great saying, the smaller you are, the more hats you get to wear. The smaller your business, the
Absolutely.
more hats you get to wear. Not have to
Yep.
wear, get to wear because you're small. As you grow, and growing a private practice is way different than a tech company, right? Because small businesses, you're only as good as your last sale, right? In
Absolutely.
tech, it does scale and you're going to go on these really high highs and really, really low lows. But so much more can be done in that scaling a scaling a tech company versus a private practice. So it's understanding, not getting like down this rabbit hole of LinkedIn or Instagram and these shiny objects. Stay true to your core business and focus on that. Focus on what you can control because there's
Yeah.
a lot you can't.
Yeah. So I actually want there are two completely different areas, completely different questions that I want to ask. So like, I'll start with one and then jump to something else. You are probably in the most unique position among everybody I've talked to. You're running two businesses. One is 100% local, meaning everybody's in office, right? Your front desk is in office, your back office, everybody's local. You see them, they talk, the client is standing there, right, in their face. They have to smile, right? I mean, all of
They
this.
have to be human.
Yeah, 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 yeah. And then you're running a tech business that is remote.
Hmm.
How do you ensure? So, there's culture that you build in your local office, and there's culture that you built in your remote. How do you do that? What works for you? Like, what's your experience?
So, and when I bring up the book, and we've done this at Dr. Contact Lens, we do run traction, right? And so it's knowing where everybody is focused, and that works really well. We've kind of scaled it down a little bit. And then right there, though, is accountability. And so one of my coaches, I'm in Dan Martell's coaching program, which is just really opened my eyes to a lot of processes. You don't fail to the level, and that's in Atomic Habits. You don't fail to the level of your goals, you fail to the level of your processes. So it's keeping your pulse on a lot of different things. And so one of it is what metric, what one number? And he's like, you get one. And I've scaled this into like two or three for both things. What is one number? And you're not responsible for it as the CEO or the owner of the company. What's one number that you would look at every day that would tell you where you are, where you were, where you are, where you're going? And when you start to measure that, you will start to see the issues and the growth and the opportunities and the problems. So managing the two cultures when I'm at West Broward Eye Care, right? It is every patient, every time, every encounter. That's what our
Mhm.
motto is. And we say it over and over again. So you will sound like a broken record when you actually start to do this right. And you're going to get sick of yourself saying it. But remember, in order for somebody to see it and penetrate their brain, they have to see it 8 times, which means you have to say it 80 times in order for someone to process it 8, in
To
order
realize it,
for it
right?
to stick. And then the philosophy at Dr. Contact Lens is, the whole reason that we built this was to help them compete. And so what we have to go into is we have to go into these offices that don't want to change, that have developed really bad habits. And now I'm the bad guy to want to help them succeed. It's really strange to live in both of these environments, on both being a doctor and then now selling into these things. It's been, wrote a book on it here.
Yeah. I'm curious. You mentioned I am also in a coaching program called Strategic Coach, probably
Hmm.
similar. Have you done your Colby profile?
My what program?
Colby.
No.
No. Okay. It's an interesting thing that as entrepreneurs we could do that shows our initial reflex on how we deal with things, like
Yeah.
whether it's, do we tend to go after a lot of data before we make decision, or do we, you know, how are we going to follow through? Like, it's a really, really cool thing. And it's how you act, or it's not how you're trained to act. It's how your instincts are, right? It's in different things we do a different way, but this is your instinct. Like my instinct is I make decisions really quickly. Right? I need very high level data, and then I'll make a decision. I'll go there, and if it fails, it failed. It's fine. I'm very comfortable with that. I'm like, okay, we tried, it didn't work. Let's try something else. Where somebody else is like, we need to analyze, and then make the decision that's right. It's very interesting because
So
it
I'm you,
does.
and my husband is the latter that you just said.
Okay. Yeah, I am, take a look at it. It's called KOLBE. It's a whole thing. It's really, read about it. You're going to love it.
Yeah.
Like seeing you're going to love this. Like my quick start is a 9. Like, you know, I run. Yeah, it's like, like don't waste my time. Just do it.
Yeah.
Do it.
Talk fast.
Interesting when
Let's
we
walk
deal with.
fast. Let's get where we're going. Yeah.
Yeah, I have an employee, and we just did one for her, and she is very opposite of mine. And so we will learn that when I tell her, just go try and see what happens, her brain blows up. Like she just doesn't function that way. And it doesn't talk at all about like what's right and what's wrong. It's not, there's no you're better at this or worse. It's just, this is how you function. And so anyway,
Well, you
a
said
bit of a
something
sidetrack.
interesting in there that I'd like to go into, right? So there's another
Yeah.
quick test that you can take called positive intelligence. It's like a 2 or 3 minute test, and it talks about these 10 sabotagers that all of us have. And so when you rate these questions, it shows you what got you here isn't going to get you there. So it's a book,
Hmm.
it's a course, you can do it. That was eye
Cool.
opening because I did it and then I had my hubby do it. And my top 3 were his bottom 3 and reverse, right? And so
Right.
that's also when you're looking for business partners or team members, right? Your strengths are going to be their weaknesses. Your weaknesses are going to be their strengths. And that's what the beauty of being human is we all
Right.
can't be doing the same thing, or we're not all good at the same thing.
Yep.
So you as the owner, it's getting a lot off your plate. And so the other book too, Buy Back Your Time, was really become my life-changing read as a busy entrepreneur, because everyone always asks me, how do you do all of this?
Hmm.
Guys, I don't. I have gotten so much off my plate because I
Yep.
was running on fire.
Yep.
On
Same thing.
fire. So
So
I don't touch my email anymore. I don't touch my calendar anymore. I'm not even in
you
charge of it. My
delegate.
Sade is my chief, we call her my chief soul officer. She protects my soul
Right.
from all that, because when you're running this and you're trying to grow, if you're dealing with all this crap all day, how can you show up and be the best? It's
So
impossible, no matter what mindset you work on.
I think that's a huge thing to be able to delegate. It's also being able to tell people you work with how to work with you. So this is, people laugh at it. I have a it's
Mm,
one page, that says manual on how to work with Zhenya.
I love it.
Every person that I hire, every person that I work with a lot, I give it to them. And I said, this is how you work with me. Don't, like, little things. If you're sending me an email and you're asking me to do something, or you send me, a text message, and it's not done in 20 minutes, it will never get done. If you need it to get done, just remind me. That's okay, right? That's how I operate. Because if I didn't react to it, my follow through on the same Colby profile, my follow through is a 2. I just don't do it. So don't be angry. Don't be surprised. Just remind me. I don't take offense of it. Like, okay, yeah, let me do this. Or better yet, and this is what my people know, get on a call with me and make me do it while you're sitting there, because that will actually do that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that also too, like, when you're looking at the differentiators, is understand this, and this is for your marriage, it's for your friendship, it's for your team
Mhm.
members, it's for partners, is understanding your core values. So there's another exercise you can do. It's in the back of the Business Outside book, and he has 50 words, and your 50 words become 10, 10 become 5, 5 become 3, and the 3 are your core values. So
Mhm.
as entrepreneurs, we tend to be very risky, very
Yeah.
risky,
Yeah.
right? And my 3 core values, when I say them, right, is joy, heartfelt joy. Just you can feel it and
Mhm.
being there. And that comes from me being a big pleaser. And then risk, like throw me up as high as you can. I'm a cheerleader. Just make sure you catch me. I'll jump off cliffs. Love it. Right. And then personal freedom. I'm going to come and go as I want. And then when you do this with your team, make sure they read theirs first before you share yours, because they're going to try to match yours, especially when you explain things like personal freedom. Because those 9 to 5 people, you're going to have the ones that are going to come and give you their all, and then you're going to have the ones
Yep.
that just come and collect. And I'm not going above and beyond because I'm not getting paid to do so, right? And those are the
Absolutely.
expectations that you set. So then you need your core values to your office or to your thing. We always say it, but I know when you're down staff and you want to add a butt in a seat just to get there, you got to ask really good questions. And this
Mhm.
is where things like chat come in. Give me 3 questions that are going to search for this core value. And then you can really add to your team, because I'm really fortunate at West Broward Eye Care. I have team members that have been there 24, 25, 26 years. And when you
That's
ask them
amazing.
why they're there, it's because I let them in. I
Mhm.
expect a lot from them on innovation, not being a gatekeeper, bringing me ideas, being part of the growth, sharing in the growth. And same thing at Dr. Contact Lens. We've made so many mistakes there, but it's the transparency that you need.
I was running an engineering team, was VP of engineering, and I was there for maybe a year, year and a half. We hired a new director, and there was like 3 or 4 people that reported directly to me. And one of the guys used to work for me before, so I brought him over, when I joined the company. And so we hired this new director. We're sitting in the meeting, and I'm saying stuff, and the guys that were there for a long time are all arguing with me, and they get emotional, and I get emotional, like, So this new guy is just, I asked him, so what do you think? Tell me about your experience. What do you think about this? How should we do this? And he's just nodding his head. And apparently I was told later, he walked out, like after I walked out, he asked the guys, and specifically the guy that worked with me before, are you not afraid he's going to fire you because you keep arguing with him? And the guy replies, you should be afraid he's going to fire you if you don't argue with him, because if you're just going to agree, he doesn't need you. He needs you to tell you that he is wrong and it needs to be done. And there are other ways to do it. People don't have this, right? They don't get that concept. Like, for example, I'm an explainer. When I ask somebody, hey, can you please do this? Or somebody comes in and says, yeah, can we do this, or we should do this? And if I say no, I will spend next 10 minutes explaining why I think it's not going to work, because I don't want it to be no because I said so. My kids
You
hate
want to
it. Sometimes they
understand,
go,
they're understanding your thought process, right? So you're
yeah.
very vocal in your thought process.
I've got 2 kids, and my younger one is 12, and she loves to argue. She argues about anything. If I'm going to tell her right now is, I don't know what time it is, 9 a.m., she's going to argue. It's not 9 a.m., it's 9:01. Like, literally, that's what she'll do. And every once in a while, I lose it, and I go, just because I said so. That's where she loses it, because that's not on her brain. Like, what do you mean because you said so? You explain everything else. Why don't you want to explain it now? Because
Oh God,
I've
you got
spent the
just
last
what
half
you
an hour.
needed.
Yeah. Anyway, I do want to ask something else, completely at a different angle, and this is about health offices, healthcare. So I ran a startup in a health tech space,
Yeah.
and our clients were I would say small to medium sized offices, usually 1 to 5 doctors, 6 doctors. And one thing that I found, and this is true today, the health medical offices, doctors' offices, are their biggest enemies in terms of process, hiring, and technology adoption.
Yeah.
My primary care physician, who I love, she's amazing. They don't have email. Like no email. Like, guys, what do you mean? We can send it to you by fax, or you can come to the office and pick it up, like if you need something, or we can mail to you, send it to you by mail.
That's the HIPAA compliant police that are out there. So a lot of offices have disregarded that, but there's ways to do it. But you bring up
There are
a
ways to
really
do it.
critical point here. Optometry school, dentistry school, medical school, right? We go to school to become great technicians. And
Mhm.
my profession, and dentistry specifically too, is there's a whole side to our business that's related to sales. In most medical offices, they're not. So in
Right.
optometry specifically, I get to sell what I prescribe, which means you are a consumer first in my practice before you're a patient. And
Mhm.
when a patient hands you their health insurance card, right? Everything
Right.
behind that seems like it's going to be covered or free. And then I ask you for a credit card and now you become a customer. We don't like when patients become customers. But on that side of it, in optometry school, dental school, whatever you went to, medical school, you are beat into you to be so risk averse with patients, right? Be clear, confident, concise. First, do no harm. It's in our oath. So you don't get sued. And on the business side, you have to take risk. But risk is just a series of questions that when you ask them of every vendor and when you put someone in there behind you as an operator, it
Mhm.
will get done. And so I'm a big advocate that in the healthcare space, which is the biggest business in our country, our GDP, it's like crazy the amount of healthcare. This is my soapbox because this is the book I wrote called the I Pitch book. If anyone wants a copy, you can find me on LinkedIn because I talk a lot about this for physicians to get out of their own way. And you have to wear both of those hats, your
Yep.
business hat, because you have to make money in order to invest, but then you have to also take care of patients. And so we're behind this really slippery slope on running an effective, efficient business, charging appropriately for our time, which we're all told to give away for free. It's very weird. And then we have that soft spot because we want to take the best care of you, but then a lot of people take advantage of it. So in that, you're not just a private practice that takes care of patients.
Uh,
You're a business first that takes care of patients. But I'm going to
no,
push
of
it because
course.
I know we're on this podcast. You're a tech company now
Mhm.
that practices eye care or practices medicine. That's where all this is going. And so the adoption curve has got to change.
You actually touched on something interesting. You said we don't want our patients to become customers. And I understand why. So I get that. I take from being a patient and a customer, I
Yep.
actually take the opposite view. I think every patient, from the patient point of view, right, not from the doctor,
Yes.
needs to think of it as I'm a customer first, because that's what broke our insurance industry. We go to doctor's office. We don't care about the cost. We don't care about the services. We don't care about what we get prescribed. We don't care about anything because the insurance will pay for it.
Mhm.
And then we're surprised when our insurance gets raised by a couple $100 a month, an annual, year to year. No, you gotta be there, right? You gotta shop around. You gotta understand that, hey, you can do this, you can do this. There are different options. And just that's my soapbox.
And it's a big one because I think people forget that, right? We're also human trying to do the best for you. But we also, if you want us to invest in you, and this is where patients, when they come into my practice, we're always adding things. And my thank you to them is like, oh my gosh, doctor, you have this in your practice and you've added this. Well, you've invested in me. So that allows me to invest in you. So when you walk out with these things and you walk out with my recommendations and you come back in a year and you haven't done it, I'm sorry, man, that's on you.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. It's interesting. It seems like my video got frozen, but my voice is still coming through. Love having technical difficulties. Well, Brianna, thank you so much. This is incredible. I mean, I love this conversation as much as I loved our first one.
Yeah. I'll leave you with one thing too. So this is our accountability game. And I learned this at a really vulnerable point. I was 4 weeks postpartum with my second baby. I was walking outside. I had my clinic running a million miles an hour. And then I had doctor contact lens in this high growth phase. And I was looking for an operations person to come help me and really scale and take a lot off my plate. And he goes, Brianna, do you? And I mean, I'm like, the baby wasn't even supposed to be here yet, right? So here I have made another human trying to run around with my head cut off. And he was telling me, like, you're going to be out of money before you know it. You've got to fire all these people and away you go. But he said, do you ever walk in the morning and do 3 things you need to do that day? I was like, you think my list has 3 things? Well, that sparked something. And when you actually look at the 3 things, it's not just a list of 3 things, but 3 things to move your business forward. And if you have that on everybody's table that day and you understand what they're working on, you can get so much further. So if we bring it back, it's about consistency. It's about getting back to your core values. Everything really is built by humans, and bringing back that human component in everything that you do is a critical piece.
Can you hear me? Can you see me?
I did. I kind of ended the podcast for you.
No, it's thank you so much. I will see what came out. I don't know. This has never happened to me. I love technology. It just all of a sudden, my screen said, we're having trouble accessing your camera. We stopped recording you, but we're recording everybody else.
But if we could end it here, what's one thing you're taking away from our conversation?
I think the biggest thing that I'm taking away is you gotta be able to see it anytime you do anything. You gotta own it. You gotta take responsibility. And you gotta drive through and understand why. Not what, but why. And it's very easy to say, hey, go do this, go to this. But without understanding why I'm doing this, it's a 9 to 5 job. I came in, they told me to do X, Y, and Z. I went home.
I love that. I think it ended up pretty good.
Yeah, no, I think it's awesome. Thank you.